Hello, friends. I'm Sharon Shaffery, wellness marketing expert and publisher of Natural Awakenings magazine, Monmouth Ocean edition. And I'm excited to introduce you to my guest today, Amarilis Correa. Hello, Amarilis.
Hello, Sharon.
Good to see you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. So Amarilis is the founder of Ace Travels Agency, and we first met about 20 years ago working at one of the top ad agencies in New York City. And as our careers progressed, we found ourselves at the same agency about 3 more times. She's a great friend and an amazing support. And now that we have both left corporate America to live our passions, I'm really excited that we're working together again. And our new program is called Yoga Retreats Made Simple. So thank you again for joining me today. And I want to tell people our program is a turnkey solution for any yoga studio that would like to invite students for an amazing experience in magical destinations. And just to get to know you a little bit better, Amarilis, many people love to travel, but I've never met anyone as passionate about exploring the world as you. How many destinations have you visited?
So I've been to at least 35 different countries as of today. It might be a little bit more, but off the top of my head, I'd say about 35. I'm super excited because I'm about to add 3 more to that list in the upcoming months. I'm going to Peru next month, and then in October, I'm going to Istanbul, and I'm also going to Georgia, the country. So I'm super excited.
You've been to every continent except for Antarctica. And for me, that's what makes our program truly unique and special. Not only are you an expert in group travel, but you bring firsthand experience and recommendations for many of the destinations. From your perspective, can you share with us why that makes such a big difference?
Sure. So I do believe that whenever you can get firsthand experience at anything, and then be able to actually share that with a client, it will help to elevate their experience that much more, because you can share with them or say to them, I know firsthand I was at this resort and the customer service was top notch, or the views were incredible, or they offer all these amenities and benefits. It just adds more, more of an oomph to the recommendations that you make, right? I'll also say that while I haven't been to every nook and cranny of this world, right? I haven't been to every destination. There are instances where I'll have a client ask me to help them plan a trip to a certain place that I haven't been. And in that case, what I do have is access to a community of travel advisors and travel professionals. And in most cases, I would say about 99% of the time, there is someone in that community who has been to that destination. And then they can share with me their firsthand experience and be able to give me recommendations or guidance in terms that I can then use to help my clients and really kind of elevate their experience as well.
Awesome. What would you consider the main benefit of working with a professional versus a studio that thinks it sounds like a great idea, maybe we could do it ourselves?
Well, I would say that if you're going to go down the path of doing it yourself, be prepared to do a lot of other things that you probably don't already do today. And I'll give you some examples. So some of the benefits are, so for instance, as a travel advisor, like I said, I belong to a community. I have access and I have partnerships with suppliers all over the world. Those partnerships and that access gives me access to special pricing, special amenities, special benefits that a customer who's just looking online wouldn't have access to. So that's probably the first benefit. The second benefit is the ability to negotiate pricing. So some people like to negotiate, some people shy away from it completely. In working with me or with, as part of this program, you wouldn't have to worry about any of that. I would handle all of that. And as my client, I would be negotiating on your behalf to ensure that you're getting the best pricing possible. In addition to that, in collaboration with you, we would be offering our yoga studios marketing abilities or the creation of marketing. So emails, landing pages, things to help attract attendees or to help get people to enroll to your yoga program or your yoga resort. I would say one of the biggest benefits of working with someone like myself is there is a whole host of back-end administrative things that have to happen when you're putting on a program like this. Something as simple, well, not simple, but something like once you start to get enrollees or people who are interested and they start to pay for your resort, in most cases, some people might want to pay for the entire thing up front, but in other cases, these are not, it's not a small expense to say, right? So some people might want to pay monthly. Now you have to manage invoicing them every month, making sure the payments are taken care of, sending them receipts, and then staying on top of the schedule that you have with your resort to make sure that you're making final payments or any payments on the schedule that they've provided and so forth. So just ensuring that you're adhering to the contracts with the resort or with the suppliers and so forth so that you're not missing any deadlines and then could potentially run into any any additional fees or anything like that we would want to avoid. So I would say those are probably some of the top benefits. There's plenty more, but I would say that those are probably the biggest 4 or 5 of them.
And I'd like to just highlight the fact that there are ways of making payment plans for people and that makes it easier for more of your students to attend because you can put deposits down over time versus plunking down the full amount at once.
Exactly. I find with a lot of my group clients, the payment plan it's hugely appreciated and very much, it is a big deal. Like clients love it. As long as you're giving your clients time of, whether it be, 9 months, 10 months, a year out, so that actually be able to plan, they're more likely to say, yeah, I want to do that and I can afford it because I can do it every month versus having to shell out, $2,000 or $3,000 up front. So.
And I think you hit on an important point there too. How far out in advance, if someone wanted to put together a retreat, how far out in advance should they start planning?
I would actually, because I just like to make sure, it depends, I think, on a bunch of different factors, but on average, I would say about a year and a half out, because you think about it, you have to kind of sort out, okay, unless you've already decided on a destination, okay, where's my destination going to be? Then there's the time that it takes to actually reach out to suppliers, start getting pricing, start understanding what are all of their terms and conditions, and what works best for what the resort is trying to achieve, or the yoga studio is trying to achieve with their specific program, right? So you kind of have to back out, and then ideally, I would say, you want to start marketing it maybe a year to 8 months, 9 months in advance, and that gives people time to actually decide, okay, I want to do this. Am I going to pay for it up front? Am I going to do monthly payments? How am I going to do all of that? So I would say about a year and a half out, just to be on the safe side.
Okay, so what if we have a studio that there are 10 women that are like, we want to do a retreat, make it happen. How much time would that require?
If the people already know, they already have 10 people signed on. That's I would say maybe 6 or 7 months out, possibly. There's so many factors there, right? It's kind of hard to say. You have to think about, they might have a destination in mind, and then it's finding, is there availability in specific resorts and so forth. So I tend to, listen, you never know when things are going to come up in the planning process, and you want to make sure that you're giving yourself some leeway and some time in case there are any kinks or anything like that. So I tend to say, give yourself more time than less.
Good plan.
I will say this though, if there is a yoga studio owner who comes to me, and says, I want to do this in 3 months, and it's not feasible, I will always be very upfront and transparent about that. But, at the end of the day, I want to make sure that everyone's walking away with a wonderful experience. And so in regards to not just the studio or the yoga retreat itself, but also myself and the studio owner, to make sure that they felt like it was a seamless and a positive experience. So I don't like to set anyone else up. I don't like to set anybody up for failure and say, yeah, it's doable, and then not be able to deliver. So I will always be very, very transparent in regards to that.
That is the best policy by far. What is the best way for a studio to contact you, and then what steps should they expect as you walk them through the process?
So I can be reached either online via email at Correa@acetravelagency.com, or via phone at 305-894-9919. And in regards to a process, the first thing I'd like to do is I like to have a discovery session with the studio owner. I want to be able to sit down and understand what is their vision, what are their needs, what are their wants, what are their must-haves, and just as importantly, like, how do they define success? Because if at the end of the day they don't feel that it was a success, then it wasn't, right? Like, you need to be able to understand what is the final objective of this going into it, so that you're doing everything to stay on that path and to get to that final outcome. After the discovery session, I'll sit down, I'll recap everything. If I have any additional questions, I'll reach out. And then, assuming that we've agreed on a destination, there might be a situation where somebody might ask me for recommendations on destinations. So we'll cover off on that first. But once we've identified the destination, I'll start reaching out to suppliers, start getting an understanding of pricing, what their terms and conditions are, and so forth. And then start pulling together a plan. And once I've put together the plan, I'll sit down and present it to the studio owner and go through the numbers and share all of the details about the resort, how we envision the entire program working out from a marketing perspective, reaching out to attendees, how successful ways for them to enroll people or to attract more people, really soup to nuts, everything, just kind of sitting down and going through the entire plan so that everybody's in lockstep and knows how we're moving forward.
Outstanding. Is there anything else you would like to share? I think we covered everything pretty well for a high level.
Yeah, very high level.
Sharing the details, getting people excited. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you would like to share?
No, other than, I think if you're not already doing retreats, it's something to definitely consider. It's an opportunity to potentially drive some additional revenue for your business, and to kind of take that wonderful business and that wonderful experience that you provide your students, and do the same, if not more, in a different location, right? In some exotic or wonderful destination that your students can then think back to and be like, wow, that was such an experience and such a great memory. So that would be all.
And is there potential that the studio owner might be able to go for free?
Well, I don't like to say yes definitively, but there are situations where with certain groups, depending on how many people are going, there are certain amenities or concessions that suppliers provide where, if you bring X number of people, you'll get a room complimentary or something like that. But that really varies from supplier to supplier, and it varies from supplier to supplier. So there is the possibility. I can't say yes guaranteed, but there is the likelihood.
Thank you. I think that this was a great overview of the program, and for those of you watching, we are going to be sending out more information and getting in touch and here to answer your questions and help make your dream of a wonderful retreat for your studio come to life. So please do reach out, and I will include the contact information with this video. And Amarilis, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Sharon.
As always, and thanks for sharing all of that information with our viewers.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting all you studio owners.
Me too. Thank you. Namaste, and have a wonderful day.
Namaste.